Maybe. There we go. All right. Hey, Subira.
Hey, David.
How's it going? You are not at home today. Where are you?
I am living the laptop lifestyle, as they say. That's what I'm doing. I came. My nephew is finished boot camp and off to airman school and all that stuff now. So it was like running him all over town and having him go through his graduation process. I'm tired. I'm officially not 25 anymore. How about that?
Oh, not to give away our ages, but neither am I. Yeah, I totally get it. Yeah, last week. So you've been there for like a week now, right?
Yeah, today makes tomorrow will make a week. Yeah.
Right. So, and then headed back to
And
Maryland.
back, headed back to Maryland. Yeah.
So where are you exactly? You're somewhere in Texas, is all I know.
Mhm. Yeah. So Lackland Air Force Base is in San
Uh-huh.
Antonio, and that's where all his uh, I call it initiation because really that's what it was. Went down, and but my sister lives in Fort Hood, which is about 2-3 hours away
Mhm.
from there, and that's an Army
Right.
base.
Right.
So yeah, I was bouncing between the Army and the Air Force all week.
Awesome, awesome. Well, last week I was off to a big digital marketing conference here and came away with a ton of stuff. But what I actually learned at that conference was that it was focused on not the solo entrepreneur, internet marketer, digital marketer, or digital product marketer that we sometimes talk about, but it was talking about brands. It was talking about enterprise level businesses that have, it turns out, a lot of the same needs and the same challenges that the folks that you and I work with
Mm,
have on a regular basis. And one of those things is really just not understanding or not having a good sense of all of this stuff that you can do online and how to organize it, prioritize it, and put these things into a formula or into a system, or as I
mhm.
think you used the word roadmap when we put together today's topic. And so there
Yeah.
were several sessions. I'm exhausted too from all of this, but there were several sessions talking
Yeah.
about really just how to plot out and how to think about what you're trying to achieve in your business online and putting things in order and recognizing that there's things you need to do and there's things that you don't need to do, and that
Mhm.
you end up wasting a lot of time and energy on. So I wanted to throw this over to you. You had come up with this topic today, and maybe you can talk a little bit about your perspective on this, the type of work that you're doing with some of your clients, and how um, having a plan really is the way to go. I mean, it seems kind of
Yeah.
obvious, but whatever.
Yeah. Well, so let me just go back a little bit. My experience has been that when people start, they come online, it's like diving into the deep end of the pool,
Yeah.
or like somebody drops you into. Last night we were watching this show called Naked and Afraid. I don't know if you've ever seen this show. My
Never heard of it.
sister, it's like Survivor to the nth degree. They
Okay.
drop people in the middle of a forest. They're literally naked
Hmm.
and they have to survive in this environment. And I was thinking about like that's how the internet can feel. It's the wild, wild west.
Hmm.
It's very uncharted and untamed territory. And so the while that can be experienced as frightening and overwhelming, what I've learned over the years is if I get to know the lay of the land, if I get to know, where have in my mind where is it that I want to go? What is the experience I want to have? What is it that I want to create? I can kind of find some guides. That's what
Yeah.
I did. I found guides because I didn't you don't know what you don't know. So it's important to find coaches, guides, teachers, find someone that resonates with you. That's for
Sure.
me a first step, right? Who's been in this land, who knows it before me? I just got dropped in the middle of the jungle.
Yep.
Oh, you've been here longer than me. And we kind of speak the same language or the same dialect. Let me hang out with you for a while.
Hmm.
And you start to have a vision of where you want to go. You kind of get a feel for, yeah, like I at first thought affiliate marketing just because that's what everybody did.
Yeah.
That's what I saw everyone do. And for me, as I started kind of branching out and feeling less afraid of the internet, I kind of went out into the wild by myself, ventured out a little bit, and I saw, oh, there's storytellers on here. Not everybody's doing this affiliate marketing thing. That wasn't me.
Hmm.
Um, and so that's kind of the beginning.
Yeah.
That's the way I think about it. And I don't know, how about you? How
Well,
was the beginning of it for
I
you?
had very much the same experience. I got online back in 1996 when I was the theater business, the classical music presenting business, and I had nobody had email back then, and those who did actually opened and looked at and read every single email. So I was doing email marketing, selling theater subscriptions and classical music stuff, and I understood marketing from that perspective. But then, fast forward a bunch of years later,
Mm-hmm.
when I was no longer employed by somebody to do this for them, but I was on my own trying to figure out, okay, how do I structure my own business? And I fell into the very same, I don't want to use the word trap, but a pattern that you did, which is that I saw people out there who were teaching the how to make money online, and that was what I was looking for. But I wasn't looking for the how to invent a brand new business and the affiliate marketing stuff, or it wasn't selling t-shirts online at that point, but whatever the thing was
Mm-hmm.
at that point that I
Yeah.
jumped online. And so I didn't understand that there was anything else, because I thought, oh, that's what people did. And that's, I think you're absolutely right, that having a guide, having somebody who has been through the process and understands and speaks your dialect, that makes a lot of sense. But it also needs to be something that's a good fit for you and
Mm-hmm.
for what your goals are. And very often what happens is either individuals or businesses come online and they don't have a clear sense of what their goals are. So they start listening to anybody who they think sounds knowledgeable or trustworthy. And I think there's that extra little thing in there that's really important, which is to make sure that the people you're following, the people you're paying attention to, um, are ethical, right? Have an agenda that is in keeping with what you're trying to accomplish in your own business,
Mm-hmm.
and ultimately, people who, as as marketers, we're teaching people to make sure that you are known, liked, and trusted among your audience. Well, as an audience member, you want to make sure that you know, like, and trust the people that you're planning to follow online. And very often that's not the case. Very often you're sort of sold something, and you follow it, and then weeks or months down the road you realize, wait a second, this isn't really what I was trying to accomplish in the first place.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think what is so important about that is you made a good distinction that, yes, I wanted to, I want to make money online. But if we dive deeper into that desire, it's really about how you want to, um, what your purpose is online,
Yes.
right?
Yeah,
What
that's
your
right.
purpose is. And I think a lot of times at least me and a lot of other new people who are doing internet marketing, just just to say those words, internet marketing, brings up affiliate marketing and buy my stuff and
Sure.
being on email lists and being inundated. And actually, once you get a little bit deeper into the process and you've had a little bit of experience, you realize, oh, okay, yes, I want to make money online, but I really have a purpose. I really have something I want to say.
Yeah.
And that's really the bottom line of the internet. It gives us all the ability, kind of democratizes um, free speech, and you can just get on here and say what you want to say. And because of that, the point I wanted to make, going back, piggyback on what you just said, was doing our due diligence. Because there are a lot of people who will say they've done this and they've had that because that's part of the template.
Mm-hmm.
But that does, and I'm not saying someone needs to show you their back office and their paycheck. That's not what I'm saying.
Right.
What I am saying is talk to some of their students. It's not for me. It became not enough just to see testimonials, because I know I can go to Fiverr and buy them. You see, so I really want to talk to some of your
I didn't know
students.
you could do that, but it makes sense. You can.
You can go to Fiverr and buy. There are people who will do voiceovers for you, and they'll stand up with your thing and say what they've said for 50 other businesses who've hired them for
Wow.
$5 that day.
Wow.
Yeah. So, you have to really, if you're coming from that place, it's because otherwise you're going to waste a lot of money. So part of the plan, which is what we're talking about here today, is how do I implement a plan online that's going to actually take me where I want to go?
Yeah. Yeah.
Getting your mentor and not only making sure you know, like, and trust them, but actually talking to some of their students. Everybody's on Facebook. You can connect. You don't even have to befriend them. You can just, hey, I see that you're a student of XYZ. How is your experience with them?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So here's where I think people absolutely need to start in putting this plan, this roadmap together. And we've talked around this a few times, but it's that you need to know what your end goal is. Because without that, without having an understanding of what you're trying to accomplish. So here's some examples of what you might be trying to accomplish. Maybe you are starting up a brand new business. Maybe you have no sense of what area you want to focus on. You do want to, as most internet marketers or internet coaches, right, marketing coaches, are training you to make money online. Maybe you're wandering into this world knowing that there's opportunity, but you don't know where to begin. So that's one goal. Goal number one is figure out what's going to make sense for you. But for the most of us, we actually already have a business or we have an area of expertise, and we want to build out that further online. And that's where I think it's easier to set those goals, but it's often more confusing when somebody jumps online to know what to do, because you know what you want to accomplish. You want to get more people in the door of your physical establishment, for your local business, or you want to get more clients making appointments with you, or you want to get more people buying your physical products, whatever it may be that you do. And that's where I think it gets often much more confusing, because there are so many possibilities that not really having a sense of where to begin stems from not knowing where the endpoint is, what you're actually trying to accomplish.
True. Yeah, that is true. And I think, knowing the difference between strategy and systems,
Mm-hmm.
strategy/systems and tactics.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times, I don't know, David, I don't know if you feel the same, but to me, a lot of times what you learn online are tactics, and you think you're doing strategy, but it's actually these get rich quick tactics that really they cannot last because there's no strategy behind them.
Mm-hmm.
The tool goes away, or the platform doesn't work like it would, the algorithm changes. But if you actually have a strategy that's based on something that lasts, and that's one of the ways to do that, just to give people kind of, where do I start with that, is find, when you go online and you start listening, you'll see the same names over and over and over. Pay attention to what they do. They've been able to be online for 10 years, 15 years, because they're using strategy that works. People who use tactics are gone in a year.
Mm-hmm.
The lifespan on the internet is very, very short.
Yeah. So
You know,
here's a good example. If you see something marketed with the term major loophole, or
yeah, yeah,
amazing
yeah.
new, whatever it might be, new, they use the word strategy, right? New strategy discovered, or this little known whatever. Those are just what you're talking about, tactics, right? They're how to take advantage of a momentary opportunity that might be able to build your list out or get a whole bunch of people to buy something from you, but it's not really addressing the strategic approach to building a business that you're talking about. So if we're looking um, to take a business and scale it online, which is often what an offline business coming online wants to do, right? Reach a much wider audience, be able to attract new customers from from farther away, maybe
Mm-hmm.
not always, but maybe, and bring them into the fold. That might be a momentary blip to get people onto your list or into your group or onto your buyer list. But what's on the back end of that? The importance of developing a relationship and nurturing those people into your world, into your community, should be
Mm-hmm.
part of a longer term strategic approach.
Yeah. Yeah. Also having finding tools that are also I love sustainability,
Mhm.
right? So finding tools that actually are sustainable. And we have some of those tools, but there are lots of tools that are sustainable.
Yeah.
Again, watching, when you find someone that you like what they're doing, look at how they're doing what they're doing, look at what tools they're using to do what they do. Um,
So,
and,
so,
and
so, case in point, you and I right now are recording this and hosting the live version of this. If somebody's watching the replay, in the future, they're
mhm,
probably not here, but we're sitting inside of Facebook, inside of a 22 Social app, right? Some people may not
mhm,
know even what we're talking about when I say that, but it is a tool that you and I both use, and it's a community of users who have, over the course of the, what is it, 3 almost 4 years now that this software has been available to the public,
mhm,
have grown together, have learned how to develop relationships with our audiences, with our customers together, utilizing and leveraging Facebook. Now,
yep,
that doesn't mean that Facebook doesn't change. Facebook changes every single day almost.
mhm,
But here in the 22 Social community, we have followed along and grown and understood how to leverage the new opportunities that Facebook has, and we have learned how to grow out our businesses on this platform and use this particular tool to
mhm,
leverage all of the data and information and ease of getting somebody into our audience base or onto our email lists by simply clicking one button, and it lets them through the gate, right? It lets them
mhm,
um, their what we call Facebook authenticated identity. I know what their email address is now, because they said, yes, I'm giving Facebook permission to share my email address with you, David, and let me in to watch your video or join your group or get your free download or whatever it is that I might be offering utilizing the 22 Social app.
yep, yep. And I think what you said about email is so important because let's say even if 22 Social went away, if you have an autoresponder, you can, constantly and consistently grow your relationship with your audience because even if you don't have a website, if you have an autoresponder, that is that's like if you're out, like I was saying, if you're out in the jungle, you at least want a way to start a fire.
Yeah.
Your autoresponder is your fire starter.
So Sabira, you just said something that I think is really important for folks out there to hear. Um, you just said, even if you don't have a website, and I'm going to
That's
let
right.
everybody in on a little secret. You don't have
You're
a
gonna tell
website.
them I do not. I do not have a website. I do not have a website, and
Yeah.
I'm doing just fine.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
and and so how are you managing? Let's actually talk about your situation, because you
Sure.
have
Sure.
you have a goal in place. You are going through a system that you've established now to develop your business out further.
Hmm.
How did you go through that process? How did you lay out that roadmap, and what is that roadmap for you? Because it's different for everybody.
Yeah. So for me, um, the major sustainable tool that I use is live streaming. So for me, it's about consistency. So every day, Monday through Friday, I live stream, and I'm using these tools that are here. Facebook, I'm using, I know video is not going anywhere.
Yeah.
So video is very important to me. Live stream is very important to me.
And before live stream, you were just recording videos and
Just
posting them.
recording, just on my phone.
Yep.
Just on my phone.
Right.
Upload them to YouTube. But for me, what helped get people to know who I am and where I was is that I was consistent.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the main. That's a sustainable tool that a lot of people don't use.
Consistency.
So I'll beat them just because I can go longer.
Yeah.
I can just stay in there every day, 10, 15 minutes, get on and do a video.
Mm-hmm.
And that stuff, it has a cumulative effect, I think is the term. It has
Yeah.
it compounds on each other and begins to build. It's amazing. And then,
So I just want to take that thought for a moment, and if somebody's saying, oh well, that's great for Subira, but I can't do videos, and so how am I going to do something that's going to be cumulative and do something on a regular basis? Well, what else can you do? You can write articles. You can.
I was going to say, absolutely. Yeah. Whatever way you like to communicate, find a method of communication where you can get your ideas out. Whether it is you like to talk, and so maybe you use a blog talk, maybe you have a radio, an internet radio show. Maybe you, like you said, if you're on Facebook a lot, you can do notes on a consistent basis.
Sure.
You can do video on a consistent basis, live or YouTube. It is endless. The deal is pick a method of communication and communicate consistently, and let these platforms do the work for you. Automation is another piece of my plan. So I built everything out, and then I go back to the beginning and figure out where are my holes.
Okay.
So tweaking all along the way.
Right. So in your business, you're trying to help.
Oh, this air feels good.
So you're trying to help people who are leaders in the spiritual world.
Yes.
Maybe some other
personal development, transformation.
Okay. Yeah.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And you're trying to help them figure out how to use the online the online world simply and effectively to grow their message and to maybe grow their business.
And for me, I'm a very big believer. I can only teach what I've done, because then I can point you to, here are my results.
Yeah.
So if someone comes to me and says they want to blog, I'm not the teacher for them. I know other bloggers, and I will, redirect them there. But if they're open to video, then I've got a whole plan that it just works. So we don't need to try to tweak it. Right. Now, within there, they're going to put their own nuances of who they are, but I already know what works. So we do videos, we put them, we host them in this 22 social platform. All of my students have committed to 1 year, believe it or not.
Wow.
Believe it or not. And that's one of my strategies, is that if you want to get rich quick, if you think you want to turn this thing in 90 days, I'm not the instructor for you. Mm-hmm. You need to go somewhere else. But if you want to commit to 1 year to actually give us the time to build your system out using YouTube, 22 social, Facebook, live streaming, emails,
right.
Basically five things, and your message. And within that structure, we can then hone in on who their avatar is. We can hone in on what the pain is. And then we can begin to create products that solve problems for that avatar's pain.
Okay. And then, just to clarify for people who aren't familiar with these terms, you're talking about avatar as in the ideal customer, the ideal client that they're after, personified. That's sort of what avatar is.
I like that.
Yeah. And
the caricature of your ideal customer. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And that's I think another really, really important component in this plan, is really having an understanding of who that individual is, because you can then be far more effective in speaking to them in the language that they're going to be most receptive in hearing, what you have to say, and in the places online where it makes most sense to connect with those individuals.
Yeah.
So you just talked about some specific platforms, and you left out things that, let's say LinkedIn, right? You didn't talk about LinkedIn. You didn't talk about Pinterest. You didn't talk about Yelp, right? Because they're not necessarily platforms where live streaming works, but there could be somebody who crosses paths with you and who says, well, I'm a this isn't your audience, but I'm a business trainer, and I train on sales, and I'm trying to get B2B salespeople. Well,
Yeah.
the platforms you use aren't probably going to be the most effective ones for them, because their avatar, their ideal client, isn't focused on becoming a better salesperson on the platforms you talked about. For the most part, there are exceptions.
That's true. That's absolutely true. By and large, not.
Yeah.
I know that pretty much my ideal customers are naturally storytellers. So video is a fit. Now, where they kind of stumble a little bit is just the fear that we all have, and I had it too, getting in front of the camera and talking. Like, I don't know what to say. But what I know about them as a coach is that they are natural storytellers.
Yeah.
They're natural encouragers. And so video lends itself very well for my ideal client. And I know that about them because I've taken the time to study, to really get to know them. This is another piece that's important, is that I tell my students, and this is what I'm doing, is to actually have conversations with at least your first 100 customers when you're building. Actually take the time and invest in a conversation with your first 100.
Sure. So this is something that I think is equally as scary as getting on camera. Right? Is actually talking to a customer and asking them questions about the things that they want, the things that they need, how what their big fears are, things like that are going to inform the success of your business online.
Yeah.
And most people don't do it. Most businesses don't do it. And if they do it, it's sort of canned. There's market research that's out there, but that's at a big level for a big corporation to hire a firm to go out and ask consumers if they like this color or that color on the cereal box, right?
Yeah.
But small businesses and solo entrepreneurs should be doing this too, and
Absolutely.
it's probably far more effective for people like you and me.
Absolutely. Yeah, because we can still reach out and touch our customers and have a real small town feel. And I think, honestly, I think people miss that. I don't even think, I know people miss that. They love that small town fill in the country US, small town USA feel,
Right.
or whatever. And when you can give that to them, that's one of the reasons I love Facebook groups. That's why they're so powerful, because you can create that small town feel right there.
Yeah. So, okay. So far I've heard we need to know where we're going. We need to understand, we need to be committed to a consistency. We need to understand who our client is, what they want, where they hang out, so that we do these things in the right places. And we need to actually ask them questions and talk to them, so we know, so we get the feedback that we need in order to tweak and adjust our business.
That's right.
Okay. I think that's a great starting point. What do you think?
And because that's a lot of work.
Yeah.
That's a year's worth of work right there, at least.
Right. So we've talked a little bit about 22 Social being a great place for, particularly for clients of yours and mine who are technically disinterested or unsavvy, right? And the ease of use, and the fact that it's a community that helps basically any sort of entrepreneur, whether you're into a local business or physical products or information, get up online really, really quickly. The other world that I love sending people to 22 Social, because I know that for many situations, when you're entering the online world, it solves your need. It solves your problem. It gets you connected to an audience. It helps you build your email list. It puts you front and center where, so much of the population is right there on Facebook. But
Yeah.
22 Social only focuses in certain areas. And so the other area, you said, find people to recommend and endorse things. And so the other area that I actually introduced you to a few months ago was my friends over at NAMS, the Novice to Advanced Marketing System. And it's probably, these are the two resources that I recommend to people getting online more than anything, because I think they both help tremendously in understanding how to build out that roadmap for your business online, and then understanding how to use the resources, or how to consider which are the right resources most effectively for your particular situation.
Yeah, what I love about NAMS is right in the name, novice to advanced.
Yeah.
Right? It tells you right there. So they will really take you, and even if you, here's the thing, even if you think you're advanced, so many times an advanced marketer is missing the basics.
Yeah.
And what I really love about them, and I know we're gonna delve deeper into this as we do more. We come together every week,
Mhm.
but I loved when I opened up the back office and they've got those 12 main pillars, right?
Yes.
And so being able to say, okay, I need the basics of my business structure set up. Do I have an LLC? Do I need an LLC? Those kinds of questions to think about, and then actually help you create that for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand email marketing, so they'll help you understand all these basic components that you need. The beauty is being able to go back. When I talked about the tweaking a few minutes ago,
Yes.
what I love about NAMS is it gives you that map where you can go back and say, okay, I want to focus on this area, whether it's for a year, a month, or any time in between or longer, where you can really narrow in on and tweak what you need to tweak.
Sure.
And they're kind of your Sherpa, they're gonna like, here we go, we got your stuff, we got your stuff on, your rucksack is on our back, you climb, we're gonna climb with you.
Yeah.
You are tweaking and going, you've got these coaches with you that are helping. It's just in a community. So, that's what I was missing at the beginning. And that education, that coaching component, that isn't all about the shiny bells and whistles and making $1 million in 90 days and all of that, but just a solid, steady build. You just can't beat it.
Yeah, no. And I gotta say, the reason that I appreciate these two resources and why I recommend them to so many people is that not only are these guys really smart, and have they, not only have they figured out how to build things out online effectively and to teach it effectively, but both 22 Social and NAMS are incredibly transparent about their own businesses and share where they've made mistakes and lessons that they've learned along the way. And I don't know a lot of people out there. I'm going to pick on somebody who's, really famous, like Ryan Dice or Frank Kern. I've never seen them. They're really smart, and they really know how to teach online business, attraction marketing, all of the things that are really cool about doing business online. But those two guys are just two examples of really polished presentations. I've never, ever seen them say, I made this mistake and I'm going to use this as a lesson that I'm going to teach you.
Yeah.
22 Social and NAMS, I can't get enough of the openness that I get from them and from the communities that they serve, because they are so transparent about their business.
I absolutely agree. It saves a lot of time.
Absolutely. Hey, listen, you got anything else that you want to make sure we cover here when it's comes to building out a plan? I think I summed it up quickly before, and I said, and that's basically it. And obviously there's a lot more pieces to it that are individualized as you go through the process of figuring out the goal, figuring out your avatar, figuring out the platforms, figuring out the language, getting the feedback there. But that's the framework. that's important. Is there anything else that we've missed?
I don't think so. I think the only thing that's important from here, honestly, is to let people know to come back and watch us next week and the week after and the week after, because we're really gonna do a deep dive into these different areas
Yeah,
of the map. You know, we've laid it out over the last couple of weeks, but guys, you know, what you and I are really committed to, David, is taking people actually into these areas so that they actually see, oh, what is it that I actually need to be doing? What is it that I actually need to be looking for? And so, you know, I say, I don't know if you're open to this, but I know you are actually, where, you know, we can actually go into the dashboards and show people how simple this can really be.
sure.
Because you know, it's about dispelling myths, knocking down the reasons that people have fear, showing them how easy it can be, and you know, being as transparent as NAMS and 22 Social are within our own businesses.
Yeah.
And just letting people see how simple this is. Like, we got to demystify this thing.
Absolutely. I love that. So that's the plan. In subsequent weeks, we'll be coming back here and we'll be taking a deeper dive into these individual areas. So whether it's, as Subira said, figuring out if you need to be, you know, creating an LLC for your business, or you need to understand email marketing or list building or video marketing, or how to leverage Facebook for your business. Those are the things that we'll be covering in subsequent episodes in a deeper way. We'll be showing you the tools that we use in our business. We'll be showing you the resources that we learn from and we leverage in our businesses. Because Subira, you started off this conversation by talking about affiliate marketing. It's important for me to always share that we are affiliates of both 22 Social and NAMS, and it's actually a cornerstone of what I teach my clients in building out their online businesses, is that we are often making recommendations in our businesses to other resources, to other products, to solutions, and I think it's important to identify opportunities to add additional income streams when you're making recommendations. So while you and I are here endorsing these things, using these things, we also want you to know that when we make these recommendations and you go over to NAMS or you go over to 22 Social and you click and you set up an account and you become a paying customer, that Subira and I are also benefiting from making that recommendation to you, and therefore we all win in the end.
Hallelujah. Win, win, win. That's what it's all about. Win, win, win.
Absolutely. All right. So I think we're going to wrap things up. Thank you, Subira, for joining us from your travels, and we will be back next week with another DIY digital training. And I've left links down below for people to click on over to learn more about us, as well as learn more about 22 Social and NAMS. You can always find 22 Social details at diydigital.info/22 with us. And you can find NAMS details at diydigital.info/NAMS. That's NAMS with us. And until then, I guess we'll see you in the next DIY Digital.
We'll see you guys next week.
All right. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, everybody.